Hi, the book that I chose was After the Fall, and it is written and illustrated by Dan Santon. It is published by Roaring Brook Press, copyrighted in 2017, and it is the winner of the 2019 Bill Martin Jr. Award. The genre is children's picture books, fairy tales. It's got 32 pages and it is appropriate for ages pre-K and up. The book shows what happened to Humpty Dumpty after he fell. We all know the story, the king's men put him back together, but sometimes things can't be put back together with just bandages and glue. Something happened to Humpty when he fell. He lost something. He gained a fear of heights also. He loved being on that wall to watch the birds. Those were his favorite. And when he fell, he developed an anxiety and was unable to get back up on ladders. It affected everything. It affected him being able to sleep on his bed and able to grab his favorite cereal off the top shelf. And I love how the illustrator, who used watercolor, he illustrated the cereal that he really wanted as bright and cheerful. And the cereal that is more at where his eye level is dark and gloomy and more geared towards adults than Humpty's age. So Humpty walked past that wall and wished that he could get back up on that ladder, and he just couldn't. His fear was just too much. And so one day he saw a paper airplane, and he thought, that gives me an idea. So he decided to build a paper airplane, and he worked hard. It took him a while to get that done, but he made it. And it was the most beautiful paper airplane. It looked just like one of his birds, and the illustrator did such a great job on the detail for it to look just like a bird. And so he flew that paper airplane over and over and over, and it just made him happy until that airplane landed on top of the wall. And so he had no choice. He had to get back up there. And I love how the author shows that wall is just so high. It just seems so high for Humpty. And so he gets up there, he starts climbing it, and I love how the illustrator really shows that he's trembling. He's showing those lines by his fingers, showing him shaking, and he just kept climbing one step at a time until he was no longer afraid. And you see him up there, and he's so happy. And he got back up there. And he wants to be remembered not as the egg that fell, but as the egg that got up there, hatched, and flew away. And you can see the illustrator show. There's his clothes. There's his shells. So anyway, I think this is a great book for kids. I believe that one of the things that they can take away from this book is to never give up. Always try to get back up there. Also anxiety. Kids nowadays have a lot of anxiety, and they need to know that sometimes it's okay to not always be okay. An experience that I had with this is I had a lot of anxiety. I was a cheerleader for years. I was a flyer. I was at the top, and one day I fell and got a concussion. And it made me develop a fear of heights. And so it's so hard for me. It was hard for me to, even cross bridges. That was terrifying for me. But I got over that fear. I worked at it, but I did get over it. And now I was able to, do stuff that I wasn't able to do in the past. A strategy or an activity that you can do with this book is to have kids write in their journals. Have them write what they think some endings of fairy tales were, like Jack and Jill or Goldilocks and the Three Bears. What happened after their original stories? What are some events that could have happened? So, After the Fall by Dan Santak.